Welcome to the Reborn podcast. My name is Ashley Horner, and I am here with my co-host, Liz. She's my manager here at American Brew. And today's topic, we're going to talk about everything going on with quarantine, staying in shape, staying away from the pantry. And I think Liz is the perfect co-host today because she is our baker here at American Brew. And it is, how long have you been baking?
Since I was 10 years old.
Since you're 10 years old?
Yes. I asked Santa for a KitchenAid mixer when I was 10, and he brought it, so I've been baking ever since.
What's your favorite thing to do? Cakes, cookies?
I'm really into scones right now.
Yeah.
And cookies.
Yeah. We have a lot of scones
ones.
downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard and it's tempting every time I come into America Brew, and especially whenever Liz is in the back baking in the kitchen. Like I always want to, I'm that person that wants to like lick the spoon, maybe lick the bowl.
The batter.
In fact, there was one time, I think I was working in the kitchen.
I caught you red-handed.
Yeah, because you had made some cookies. Or
some cookie dough I left in the fridge, and then there's a personal cup with a lid on it, and I opened it, and sure enough, I found a scoop of cookie dough.
Yes, yeah, I honestly
right
thought that I was being like super sneaky about it. And Liz knew. She's like, "There's some cookie dough down there, Ashley." I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But it's been difficult. It's been challenging, especially through quarantine and everything changing, like almost all of a sudden. Trying to work, and Liz puts in a lot of hours here at the brew, and trying to stay on top of fitness. She's also, she does all of the baking. She can run both back of the house and front of the house. So just her cooking skills, everything. I've seen the meals also that you make at home, and they look like something you would go to a restaurant and get. They are so fancy. So we're going to talk about that today, and I know that school's getting ready to start, and everything is just constantly changing, and what I have learned is that you have to be okay with just kind of going with the flow, because it's really easy to get stressed out about it.
And for the longest time, I love routine, schedules. You give me a timeline, I'll be there, and this whole quarantine happened, and I'm like,
You had to learn to flex.
And I stressed for a solid month. Stressed, and I'm like,
was it because you didn't have any structure?
And then the gyms were closing, and it was hard enough for me to even get to the gym in the first place. So now having this, I was like, oh, I'll just sit on the couch and do nothing.
Well, that was the easy thing to do.
That was such like the easiest thing to do, and then the quarantine started to expand, and now it was like a month.
Whenever the quarantine, I really thought the quarantine was only going to last for a couple weeks, maybe a month.
I think everyone thought that.
Yeah. And then it was like, I don't know what point it was where it was like, all right, this is going to be the long haul of the quarantine.
I can no longer eat a full bag of chips in one sitting.
Put the locks on the pantries and stuff. Yeah.
And that's when you had to make up things in your home to do for workouts.
Yeah.
And
gotta get
because gyms were closed.
Right. And a lot of people weren't prepared for that.
No.
I think that there were two different types of people that I saw during the time of quarantine. I saw people who just prevailed through the quarantine, and some people started running for the first time ever because they couldn't get that like adrenaline or like the work or like anything.
I saw more people out and about.
I did too.
I was like, this is great. Like, people are talking, like keeping their distance, of course.
Right. But social distancing.
Yes. I know it was amazing to see how like the community just come out and just, hey, like going for a run tonight or a walk, and
it was nice.
It's good on that aspect.
So we're gonna take our cheers of whiskey. We're gonna do. We have Widow Jane here. We've done this one before in the past, but this is Liz's, one of her favorite whiskeys. It's a badass whiskey. So we're going to take this whiskey, and it's just going to be, we're just going to cheers to make a toast to just staying flexible and getting through quarantine, and knowing and understanding that you're not the only one that's wading through these waters.
Right. Everyone is literally in the same boat.
They're learning as they go.
One day at a time.
So, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, man.
Liz likes to chase hers with coffee.
I don't have any pretzels in front of me. That's normal chaser that I do.
Not pickle juice?
No. Oh, gosh.
Really?
I love pickle juice, though.
I do too.
Pickleback shots.
I know. That's been one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. So I want you to kind of like tell me a little bit about yourself. And you have a lot of responsibilities at American Brew.
I do.
And I kind of want to know, like, well, you've been here for about a year. Mm-hmm. We're going to be celebrating your 1-year anniversary.
1 year.
Which is, yeah, it's awesome.
It's crazy year it's been.
It has been a crazy year. Yeah, we've survived a lot. I think whenever you first came on to work at American Brew, our espresso machine wasn't working because we had a surge.
Power surge.
And so, man, talk about being a trooper. That was...
I was like, well, I probably won't last here that long. We're using an espresso to froth our milk on a weekend.
And it was taking like 5 minutes to make.
Thankfully, we had patient customers, too, who were able to wait. But, yeah.
So, through quarantine, we had to shut down American Brew.
Yep.
And we were closed for
a couple of days.
Yeah.
Maybe
I felt like I had to, though. I just had to, like, and collectively, like me and my leadership and, leadership speaking with Liz, like, we had to reassess. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like everything was going fine. We kind of saw something coming in the distance, but we didn't really know.
I honestly thought it was like a joke.
I did too.
I'm like, what do you mean things are shutting down?
Yeah.
Like, across the country, you would see the news and you're just like, what?
Yeah, like, surely it won't come here to Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it did. And, we had to push pause on all operations. Mm-hmm. We closed down the doors to American Brew for about 3, maybe 4 days. Mm-hmm. But we reopened.
We did. And then at that time, the state didn't the CDC didn't put out any guidelines for cleaning wise, but I think we took that upon ourselves, just like distant things.
And we have a walk-up window, which really helped.
Which really helped us. That was
a lot.
A saving grace, for sure.
Yeah, and we moved, and then when we were able to, we moved a lot of our seating outside.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. I forgot that we were closed inside. I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, basically our whole inside was just closed. Mm-hmm. And we could still service our customers from the window. And it was important. It was important for me to continue to move forward as a business and even to provide a place like for my staff to come. And so many companies, I felt like we were fortunate enough that no matter what the future held for us at American Brew, I knew that we had to press onward. I mean, we have all of our employees, they depend on us for a job. I definitely did not want to start rebuilding my team, which is what a lot of restaurants have had to do.
Yeah, I'm obviously super thankful that I was able to keep a job.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of friends, collecting unemployment, it's just a scary time. You're not sure how long that will last. And a lot of local businesses who I've met, like employees from, they haven't been able to go back because they just don't have the services for them right now. So definitely a challenging time.
It is. And it's kind of the same with fitness and working out, because there was definitely a span of probably maybe a week where even like my fitness, I have a gym that I could have gone to.
Right.
But even still, I don't know if it was that I just kind of got sucked into, I don't know, it was weird. Like, it was like a lazy,
everyone was like, oh, quarantine. Like, let's all be like chill. No one's working.
No, everybody was just
everyone's staying at home. It was also, though, I feel like a good mental break for everyone to just kind of reset and kind of focus on the main priorities you have, like your health.
And as crazy as it sounds, like during quarantine, I have never felt like I was so relaxed through quarantine. Mm-hmm. I cannot explain it. And, my husband, who is always gone, that was the most time in our entire lives that we had spent together.
Mm-hmm. And no excuses. You honestly have nowhere to go.
No, we were together. We were together as a family.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we actually ended up building a gym outside of our house just to keep, like with the kid. And it is difficult for us to take, or for me to take all 3 kids to the gym at American Sled Dogs. I mean, it's a lot, and they have a space to like run around, but it was just almost easier to have and to build a training facility at my house, like as we were in quarantine, because we rarely went out.
Yeah.
I mean, I was coming in here to the brew, but that was like, I mean, this is like my second home.
Right.
I don't really consider that like venturing
coming in,
out.
you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's gone.
Yeah. So what did you do? Because I know it's kind of interesting, and you have a background in CrossFit.
I did compete for a while, and then my husband's in the military, so we did move. So I would be able to join different CrossFit gyms.
Did you guys move a lot? Because you started out in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we're from Philly, and then he was down in Pensacola, so we went there, and we joined a gym there, and then went to Washington State, which we actually found a CrossFit gym who started in Virginia Beach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, CrossFit 7 Cities. And they were an awesome community. I just love the community aspect of it.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of people during quarantine miss that aspect because it holds you accountable too.
That was huge.
You're like, oh, I got to meet so-and-so at the 5 a.m. class.
Right.
And you went there.
Because you know everybody else is showing up with you.
Exactly.
So now all of a sudden you don't have that.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how much equipment that you have at your house or whatever. You don't have somebody who is keeping you accountable.
Right. And that, for me, I'm not ashamed to admit that. Yeah. I 100% get in my head, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to skip the gym because my couch sounds better right now. But if I have someone there I'm meeting, I'll be like, okay, I can't let him down. Like, okay. And then I end up like feeling amazing after my workout.
Yeah.
So I definitely missed that aspect. But then my husband and I did a burpee challenge, so that kind of kept us competitive.
Wasn't it like how many? Or
it was 100
burpees a day.
100 burpees a day for 30 days. I ended up winning, and I'll be mad I even said that. But
what was the what were the?
It was just like an easy movement to do, because
so was it for time? Like how?
Yep,
like
it was for time.
Okay. So what was your time?
My best time was 7 minutes and 2 seconds. So,
nice.
And I chopped that down from like 11 minutes.
So
I think I paced it out at first. I was like, all right, I'm going to take it easy. And then my husband was getting like 8 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm going to kick his ass. Yeah. So I did.
That's good. I think that the competitiveness, I mean, that's kind of one of like the endorphins that you would get from class is the competitiveness
because
of like going and...
Is someone looking at you?
Right.
I mean, I'm just constantly like, okay, this girl just... benched 95 pounds and I'm like, I know.
So what was it? How did you get to like where it was okay to just, because now, I mean, the gyms are
back open, but there's still obviously some cleaning aspects that they follow, and you have to wear your mask
inside the gym,
and then you can remove it in your personal bubble.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So because you did come and take a rower.
I did. House. Yes, we did use the rower.
How much has that been getting used?
Is
it in your?
We returned the rower.
You did?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, I didn't even know it was back at the gym.
It was just too loud in our apartment. So, but it was good. We used that a lot. I enjoy rowing more than I enjoy running.
Oh, really? I would take running.
I hate running.
I've done some crazy.
You run
rowing
constantly.
Well, yeah, but I've done some crazy like rowing things.
Yeah, you did the
25
hours.
25 hours of rowing.
I left for work and then I came back and you were still rowing the next day.
Dude, my body hurt so bad.
Yeah. I remember I didn't see you for like 2 days after that.
Dude, I went home.
Which is rare because you're always here.
I went home and I went in the bathtub. I had to call for help because my whole body, like even my arms. So it's different like with running, it's just like your lower body, like maybe your, shoulders will start, like being sore.
Rowing's your whole body.
Rowing was like your whole body. And so I've decided after doing the 300-mile row for spikes and the 25-hour row for
3,000?
It was a 300 mile.
Okay.
Yeah. I've decided that I definitely don't like rowing.
No. You were like blistered on your hands.
Yeah, dude, it was so bad. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, I know whenever because we had the event the next day, it was like St. Patrick's Day.
That was a crazy day.
But I remember you like looked at me and you were like, you should go home and rest.
I was like, you really don't need to be here for it. I think everyone knows what you did.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, just good.
You were delirious.
And that's when I know I've heard that before. Of like, that's my cue.
You were saying some things, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's time you take a nap.
She needs to go home.
Yeah. That was a great time, though.
It was a good time. Yeah.
Good cause, for sure.
Yeah, it was. And, and we just had Jimmy on here with like Spike's K9.
Yeah.
So, and it was good. And, I don't even have a rower at my house.
No.
No.
Well, you have the beach. So.
I have the beach. Yeah, I haven't even been on the rower.
Oh, at your
since.
house.
I've done like a little bit. No, I don't even have a rower at the house. I haven't even been on the rower at the gym. Like, I'm just like, you know what? I'll just.
You're good for a year.
Yeah. And then who knows? Who knows what's going to come up? And I have made the decision as of this morning.
Oh, no.
That I'm going to homeschool my kids.
Okay. All three.
Definitely Otto.
Mm-hmm.
He's going
What grade?
into kindergarten.
Kindergarten, okay.
And Cash is, I'm not sure. Because this is why. And even now, like, I honestly don't know how I'm going to do it. But they have the kids legitimately in front of the computer.
Right.
Think about a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Till 3 p.m.
Right. And they have to keep that attention.
Yes.
And not have any background noise.
There's like a 2-hour time period of where every day, where, and it's like, they come and it's like a live collective, with their class of, everybody's together on Zoom.
It's like Zoom meeting.
I don't feel
or
like
something.
that Otto is going to be able to truly understand. I mean, you know how chatty he is.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone has a different learning ability too.
I just don't see him being able to sit there. Mm-hmm. And so I made the decision today that I am going to homeschool him.
And there's a lot of people doing that who never thought they would homeschool.
Do you have a sister that's a teacher?
My mom's a kindergarten teacher, so she would be Otto's. She would be Otto's teacher.
So in Pennsylvania?
Yep, and they started last week. And
are they actually going to school in Pennsylvania?
Nope, they're doing Zoom meetings also. But
what does
again,
she think?
she's just, how can you hold an attention of a 5-year-old for 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
It's definitely a daily struggle, I know, for all teachers.
Yeah, and I just, like, the only thing that I feel like we're going to be missing out on is the socialization.
Mm-hmm. And think about...
But even then, like, even if I homeschooled Otto or, like, Cash, or if they were doing, like, the virtual, they're still missing out on, like, the socialization, but aside from being able to see the kids and, like, their classmates.
Right.
So, yeah, I've made the decision, and this just opens up a whole nother, because I'm also trying to train for a 40-hour run coming up in November.
Have a full plate.
So now I have the kids that I've decided. It doesn't matter if I was deciding to homeschool them or if they're doing virtual. Mm-hmm. Now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to be able to train for this 40-hour run and do the homeschooling, which comes before my training.
Right, of course.
And it doesn't even matter if they were homeschooled or if they were doing the virtual. Like, we still have to have desks.
Even if they were in school, you still have to follow up with their homework and all that. Yeah. It's an extra challenge.
And so I think it's a difficult time for parents. Mm-hmm. And I think...
And parents who don't have the flexibility to be at home with their kids.
Yeah.
Who have to check in on Zoom for those 2 hours.
Yeah, and I'm very thankful and I'm blessed that I have a strong team right now at American Brew that they can allow me to, like, kind of step out and step away and to be able to put my kids first and their education and trying to figure it out. But not all families are going to be fortunate enough.
Definitely an interesting year.
Yeah.
So you did mention about having your at-home gym. Do your kids ever hop in on some workouts or
So
keep
that's
them
interesting.
active?
I've always been a huge advocate for, because fitness is, like, so much my everything. Like, I've never wanted to pressure them into training and doing fitness. So Otto is like, he can do kettlebell swings. He can do like
Otto can run circles around.
He is good.
Everyone. Yeah.
He is good. He can do bench press, squat. And Cash has actually started doing structured workouts with me.
Okay.
Trip's not really interested, and that's
Trip
okay.
goes to like the skate park.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps active at that age.
He's very active as far as like lifting weights. He's not really interested in that, but and he might get that interest, but I think especially with the moms or just parents, mom, dad, whatever, getting your kids involved with your fitness is huge. I think it is huge with your success, because if you are going to go out and just try to lift weights, or if you have some dumbbells at your house and you think that you're going to get through like an hour session or a 45-minute session uninterrupted, is probably pretty highly unlikely that you're going to get through that session uninterrupted. But if you start involving your children, if you start involving your kids in your daily fitness and making it fun, it's got to be fun. If you think of like the root of like whenever we were in PE and we were doing like, did you do like rope climbs and stuff? I don't know if they do that anymore because they might be afraid of the kid falling.
I was going to say, probably not.
Heaven forbid.
Jumping jacks.
Yes, jumping
like,
jacks.
great.
Like at the beginning of, whenever we started fitness was fun. And so what I have found when I'm trying to do my fitness or like a workout and my kids are with me, I give them something to do. Like instead of them, they just want to be involved, especially Otto. Like he wants to be there with me. If he could be like on top of me, like as my bench press, like sandbag, he would do that. And sometimes he is. But it's just getting the kids involved and just knowing that they're there. And also like at the end of the day, they're watching you.
Right. You're setting a good example.
Yeah. And you got to be positive.
Right. And since, gyms aren't open, what are some things that you use at home as far as equipment goes?
Yeah. The easiest thing is just getting your hands on a set of dumbbells.
Right.
A set of, or like a sandbag. And you can actually make your own sandbag.
Right. I know I ruck and I like have a professional rucking sack, but there, you can fill
Was
a
that easy
school
to
bag.
get?
Yeah, it was super easy to get.
And it's like the official ruck bag.
Yeah. I love it and it's slim but you can fill a school bag with some odds and ends in your home without spending any money.
Right. Or if you get like a bag of kitty litter.
Oh.
Yeah, no, but you can like a bag. If you,
like sand or
because it's like it's kitty litter, and you can get
smell?
like 25 pounds or whatever of kitty litter, but it's already in a bag.
Right.
So it's like sand.
So it's
if you don't have
sealed.
access to sand, you can do kitty litter.
Yeah.
And because it's like it's like formable.
Yeah.
You didn't expect me to say.
No, I didn't.
You get like a bag of dog food too, I guess.
Right.
But kitty litter would be like easier to like
No, definitely.
like mold around, like move.
But just fill a backpack with some weight.
Fill a backpack.
And then even just going on a walk, it adds extra.
Or doing like walking lunges.
Yeah, those are killer.
I think that
body weight movements.
Yes. Body weight movements, but then adding like a ruck or something.
A little extra weight.
A little extra weight. The times that I've done like body weight exercises, and people, I feel like especially people who've been like gym goers and stuff for a long time, and they're like, oh, body weight exercises, like.
But it keeps you mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I have kicked some serious ass doing body weight exercises.
That's where I excel.
People underestimate body weight exercises. Yeah. So I would say dumbbells. I would say getting a backpack with like a bag. And don't take the kitty litter out of the bag. Keep it inside the bag that it comes in. Don't dump the kitty litter inside of the backpack. But if you don't have access to sand, you could do kitty litter, just anything that's like, it'll kind of like mold to your body. So dumbbells, sand, or kitty litter. And then I think bands are also excellent. Yeah. And whenever you're doing like body weight, like you want to think of like high repetition.
Right.
Because you want to like
Squats,
go until you fatigue.
Push-ups.
Yeah.
Pull-ups. Yeah, those are definitely important during quarantine, I feel like. And just doing some yoga or just basic mobility.
Did you do anything else like besides the rucking and the...
I did a lot of rucking, and then we got our puppy.
Yeah, so Liz also has a Belgian Malinois.
Yeah, she's the bomb. Freya.
Yeah.
I was
she has an Instagram, Freya Vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a wild one.
She is.
Yeah. And you got her basically in quarantine, or was it right before?
Yeah, just
It was literally
February,
the perfect time to get a puppy.
I feel like a lot of people, which is good because it's keeping everyone active.
Yeah.
Like you have to take
You
your
have
dog.
to.
You have to take a Malinois.
Especially if it's a
out.
if it's a little Maligator.
Yeah, she's definitely kept us on our toes. So with balancing kids and homeschooling now, you have your exercising that you obviously do every single day. How do you keep track
every
of
day, but
that?
I try.
And do you challenge yourself, like, let's do 10 burpees today and then see how much you can go against?
I think that it's a different mindset. It's different than what you were talking about earlier about going into a gym that had a class and people were waiting on you to put out. You have to start thinking about how you can be competitive with yourself, or how you can be competitive with a close friend or somebody who's like tight in your circle, like a spouse or a workout partner. And definitely whenever you were doing the competition with the burpees, like that was fun.
That was fun. And
it probably like made the time fly by.
For sure. And it's just like a different
It doesn't make it as like draining though.
Right.
Because you had something to work towards.
And it was new. It wasn't like...
Yeah, I think for me, like I constantly have to set goals for myself, and I'm so competitive. And like if Liz were to come to me and to be like, yo, I'm going to challenge you to a burpee challenge, I'd be like, all right, let's go, like right now. So it's just, and you may not naturally be a competitive person, but I do believe that deep down, everybody has a competitive side, like ingrained into them. And somewhere deep into your roots, and maybe you haven't been competitive or even competed with yourself for a long time. Maybe you haven't set any goals for yourself like for a while, but everybody has that within them. And I think that if you maybe you don't have a partner, maybe you don't have someone there to keep you accountable, but if you go out and if you run a mile and you write that time down, and if you tell yourself that the next time that you go out and you run that mile that you're going to beat your time, I guarantee you, without a doubt, if you look at that number before you start running your second mile with the intentions of beating your time from before, you will beat that time, hands down. And I mean, during this time, you just got to keep it fun.
Mm-hmm. And set small goals.
Small goals, yeah. You can't be like,
let's
crazy.
Do a marathon by the end of quarantine, because it's not realistic. You could, but I think you just have to... small steps.
Yeah, because it's easy, especially during this time, to just get frustrated. To think that, and to give up, and then to be comfortable sitting on the couch.
So we have some listener questions coming in. Our first one we'll go over. Can you do a different set of exercises every day and still see results?
I think it is important for you to do different exercises all throughout the week. If you continue to do the same exercises for an extended period of time, your body will figure out a way to expend the least amount of energy to get that exercise done and complete. So yes, you have to switch up your exercises, and you just got to constantly make your body like guess what's going to happen next.
Because you'll hit a plateau.
Yeah, you'll hit a plateau. And then it's like, who wants to go and do like the exact same thing every single day?
Right. So like,
I mean, there's one thing
I
like
add weight to
structure
my ruck.
and schedule. Yeah, but like,
so that's a little bit.
Yeah, switch it up.
Yeah.
Switch it up. Yeah, if you're running, if you're walking, maybe like X amount of time or miles. I mean, just like what Liz was talking about earlier, put a ruck on, find some kitty litter, put some kitty litter in your backpack, and
just smell
switch
delicious
it up
too.
Yeah.
All right. So our next question comes from a 35-year-old mom of 2 kids, 3 if you include my husband. I see myself as athletic and I work out daily, but I want to become a true athlete. Do you think I'm too old? And how late is it a late start?
How old is she?
35. That's
Yeah,
young.
no.
You're the same age.
Yeah. Wait, what? I'm 35.
You're 30s. I think you're an extra year. Bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, we put this like, I think age, it's it's this stipulation of like once you get into your 30s or like 35, close to your 40s, that fitness can't really be a part of your life and you can't be an athlete. And that is completely false. That is something, it goes back to that saying that women shouldn't be lifting weights, or, if women start lifting weights, they're going to start looking like men. All of those are just, it's false ideas that someone along the way has put into your mind to believe that is true. And you are 100% not too old. In fact, like there's just so many different ways that you can continue to transform your athletic capabilities. Depending on how old your kids are too, like it's never too late to start. And in fact, I've seen some really incredible people start their fitness journey later on in their life and be like complete badasses. Mm-hmm. It's not too late. And, I think like you have kids and get them involved and just start small.
Right. Agreed. Our next one, you obviously have a lot on your plate right now. How do you go about finding your advisors for career and business? I'm currently active duty military and looking at long-term opportunities and investments, and haven't found many people I feel like I can go to for advice on developing plans for our long term.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, which is probably, people don't ever see this side, but I have a legal team and I have a CPA team. And then I also have an investment company. But it's been more my CPA team and even like my legal team, they are basically my advisors on figuring out, like if I have a crazy idea or like wanting to open up an ice cream shop.
Yeah. Always coming up with creative ideas.
Yes. I've leaned on them in the past, and I continue to do so now because I believe that they have guided me on the right path. What I would suggest to you, because I know not everybody has a personal CPA or a family CPA that they have used for a long time, what I would find is you need someone, what do you call it? So like not like a sponsor, somebody who can...
A counselor?
Like a mentor.
Mentor? Mm-hmm.
You need to find a mentor. And I have sat down with other business owners. There's been a couple business owners here locally that I don't feel like I'm anywhere near their league of the things that they are doing. And to me, in a sense, they are my mentor. And if you are able to sit down with somebody who has done it before, because this is the thing that you have to remember. The wheel has already been invented, but you can customize that wheel to whatever you're wanting to do after your time in the military or during your time in the military and starting that venture, to make it fit for you and your lifestyle and your plan. So I think that it is important that you reach out and I think that there's like local, maybe not now, but there's got to be like groups or, business leaders, just getting into that community of other people who are business owners, even people who have been in the military and they're getting out to start their own business. Mm-hmm. That's huge. And it happens. Like, after you do your time in the military, whether you get out or you retire, a lot of time when you retire from the military, like you still, like you're pretty young.
Right. And
you're going to go on your own, whatever.
Especially in this area, there's a ton of veteran-owned businesses, a lot of breweries. So I don't know if that's saying anything, but there are tons of veteran-owned breweries.
There are. And so, just start surrounding yourself with those types of people who've already been there and who've done it. They're going to cut out so much bullshit and so much static noise for you, getting from like point A to point B and like what that looks like. So that's a good question though.
Yeah. So one of our next questions, have you ever suffered from an injury? How did you bounce back from that?
Yeah. Injuries are like pretty tough because I think people are like, oh, like I've injured my arm or my shoulder. I'm like, okay, well, you can still work out your lower body.
Right. People sometimes.
Yeah, they
it's
think
the
like
way you
like
take
you've
it.
injured your pinky and you like have to be like bedridden for. So it definitely depends on the injury. And yes, there are some significant injuries that kind of just put you on hold or make you feel like that you're stagnant for a while. And I have been there actually. I've injured my foot before for no reason, even like out of being a crazy competitive soccer player. This injury just kind of came out of nowhere. And I thought I was going to have a blind surgery on my foot. I didn't know. I ended up calling and canceling the surgery like 2 days before because I didn't feel comfortable having a blind surgery on my foot that nobody really knew what the problem was, but they still wanted to open me up, and it was going to be like a 3-month healing process. And so I started going to a physical therapist, and we did some dry needling, and ultimately that is what ended up healing me and making me better. So I would say first and foremost that it's important to know your options. Like maybe you go and see somebody and they tell you that XYZ needs to happen. Go see somebody else and get a second opinion. If it's an injury that you've already sustained and you've had surgery, you're on the recovering mend, like there's so many other things that you can do. And I would say first and foremost that it's important to focus on your nutrition. Mm-hmm. Focus on, I don't know, what would you say?
You know your own body too.
Yeah.
So if it's not feeling right.
But I find too, like, I think a lot of times it's easy to go out and to work out. For me, like workouts can be fun.
Right.
Especially and it's like an opportunity for me to disconnect. I find it really freaking challenging whenever it comes to nutrition. Mm-hmm. So maybe you're physically injured, but let's focus on your nutrition.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, speaking on injuries and focusing on your nutrition, what is your favorite carb?
What is your favorite carb?
Gummy bears.
I would say my favorite carb right now is probably either beer or whiskey.
Oh, yes.
That's actually
Those are great choices.
Yeah, I know. But all joking aside, I mean, yes, that is just me being real. But I actually really like sweet potatoes. That's been my favorite. I like
just
mashed
okay.
sweet potatoes. Or I like making what do you call it? Like a sweet potato hash or like chopped potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
No, mashed potatoes, but then you have like the chopped potatoes.
Okay, hash.
Like how we have, like a hash, like how we have in the kitchen, but with sweet potatoes.
Good. Do you put any seasoning on there?
I do. My favorite is I'll do like a little bit of coconut oil, or I like the grass-fed butter with garlic and salt, sea salt. That's been my favorite.
I'm getting hungry.
I do have a question though, and you probably know this. What is the difference between sea salt and like Himalayan salt, like the peat salt? Do you know?
I don't know,
because
but
they say
it's different.
Like it's better for you though, right?
The
like
Himalayans, the more coarse the salt, the less processed it is. Just like sugar, so the better it is for you.
So you get like a salt grinder, and like grind it. I didn't know that.
There's all different types of salt.
Okay,
there's espresso salt.
Espresso salt. Mm-hmm. What do you use espresso salt for?
Just garnish.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
How come we don't have that?
I don't know.
These are serious
Add that
questions.
to the list.
Do you put it in your coffee?
No.
Why is it called espresso salt?
Oh, speaking of espresso salt, you should try adding a coffee rub to all of your delicious steaks.
I do. I have a coffee salt from Traeger.
There you go.
And I've used it. I'm actually, because I heard about this coffee rub, but I've never, so I was pretty worked up about it. I was like, all right, this is going to be the bomb. But whenever I tried it, it's good.
Yeah, it didn't really do anything for you.
I know. I like the original Traeger rub that I have the best. I don't know. Maybe I need to try it again. For steak or chicken, or what do you think?
Probably steak.
Steak.
Yeah.
I did put lobster on my Traeger for the first time yesterday.
That go?
Yeah, it was my first time ever doing lobster or anything. It was good. Okay. All right, we are going to go into our homework today.
Speaking of homework, did you want to do a little trick with the salt? You've never seen the Salt Bay on Instagram?
No, so we were actually just talking off camera about the Something about like,
You're always going on
smacking your meat.
You're always on the Traeger grill, so you should probably put that onto your.
Tell me, like, do I just gotta smack my meat around and then
Just
salt
smack
it?
your meat around and grab a little of your Himalayan salt and
I
sprinkle.
don't have Himalayan salt though.
Oh,
I want to
well,
get
it's
it
easy to
though.
get.
I want to get it.
Grocery stores have it.
Stores have it.
Go to your local Harris Teeter.
And then you like smack your meat. What's the purpose? Is that's like tenderizing?
You're tenderizing your meat without a hammer, so.
So you literally just smack it, dude. I feel like I would really like find pleasure in this.
I think you would.
And then you like sprinkle your salt.
Yep, just
How
a
does
little
it go?
air. Just bring your hand up and just a little sprinkle of salt.
Okay, I'm gonna try that. I'm
Try
gonna
it
try
out.
that this weekend.
Okay.
I'll
be
I'll
looking.
post it on my story.
I'll be searching for it.
I'll post on my story. I'll do the Salt Bandit. Is that what it's called?
Salt Bay.
Salt Bay.
Salt
yeah.
Bandit.
Salt Bandit.
You are the
That's
Salt
good.
Bandit.
I am the Salt Bandit. I will be the Salt Bandit going into the weekend. I'm gonna smack my big chunk of meat around. And all right, so moving right into our homework today. All right, so this is really important especially with quarantine. We're going into the school. I want you guys to know though that even for me, it's weird because I'm a little bit of like a both worlds. Like I'm kind of a stay-at-home mom, but I'm also very involved in my businesses. Fitness is a huge part of my life, and I think that it's important that you start, if you have not yet through this quarantine, that you get your kids involved. Every school has a PE time. So we can just start there, and this can be mandatory. Your kids are going to be, whether you're learning virtually, hopefully your kids are actually going back to school in person. But if you're not, if you're doing homeschooling, if your kids are learning virtually, even if you don't have kids, it's important to start incorporating those that are around you on a day-to-day basis into your fitness journey and to your world. So that is your homework this time, and that is to get your kids, your spouse, your loved one, your team involved in your physical fitness. So my name is Ashley Horner. This is Liz from American Brew. We are running the show today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Reborn podcast. Make sure you follow us at Reborn Pod on Instagram. Go to iTunes, download us on Apple, review. Give us some feedback if you would like to see your question answered here live on the American Brew podcast. Make sure that you get that to us. You can DM us on the on the Reborn podcast Instagram, or you can just leave a comment below. So thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ashley Horner, and we are out.